left-wing Kingz. Listen, think, act, repeat.
The Alabama Supreme Court embryo ruling has shocked the fertility community to its core. The court ruled that frozen embryos created through the in vitro fertilization process are considered children under the state's wrongful death law. This means that anyone involved with IVF embryo development who destroys or damages an embryo could be charged for killing a person. So, Walanda, does this decision make a damn bit of sense?
No, but it's sad, though. I had to go do my research on this one because I wanted to understand, like, how did we even get to this conversation? And so what I found out, there was a couple who did IVF, and they had embryos. And 2 of those embryos were damaged by someone who actually worked there. And so it fell. They were damaged. And so now they called it the wrongful death of a minor act. And I was like, how does that fall on the death of a minor? When I think of a minor, I think of outside the uterus, right? An individual living and breathing today. But the ruling was that, yes, it does follow under the minor. It's called the wrongful death of a minor act. And I was like, wow. So now a parent can claim under this act, if a fetus develops in uterus, something happens to it due to whatever incident, then now they basically can apply that law. It's applied to an embryo that exists in a lab, which that's never happened before. And this ruling was back in 1872 before IVF. So I was like, wow, this is nuts to me. Because when I think of life, I think of outside of the uterus surviving. So to me, it's a sad predicament. I get it because there's people who want to have children who can't. And it's excruciating what they go through in order to have children. And then on the other hand, I'm thinking, okay, so now, what is life? What are we holding true? Now I can be, if as a parent, if I have these additional embryos, what do I do with them? I can't discard them because now I'm going to be a murderer. You know what I mean? Like, I'm trying to have life, and me trying to have life, I also have to protect the life that to me doesn't exist at that moment in time. Just my personal, opinion in regards to an embryo, but it's crazy and scary. It's like contradictive of itself. Do you fight for life? And in fighting for life, you can now become a murderer if you don't protect all of the life.
Yeah, I mean, people are really blurring the lines when it comes to this. It's just crazy. Does this affect STEM research now? You know what I'm saying? Because, it's just like nuts, man. Stem cell research, does it affect that? You throw something away and all of a sudden, you committing murder? You know what I'm saying? And I think my take from it a lot is this happened when people they're in the process of already doing this. Like, they're using in vitro fertilization so they can have children. All of a sudden you pass this law, you put them now in jeopardy. Like, it's just, to me, an overreach from a party who doesn't like overreach. You know what I'm saying? As they talk about, like,
want you to be able to do what you want.
It's okay for you to overreach when it comes to abortion and in vitro fertilization and all of that. But, anything else, taxes. You know what I'm saying? Oh, man, y'all are taxes, man. Big government. You know what I'm saying? Well, what the hell is this? I can see if somebody was doing this and it was for the wrongdoings or it was just for profit or whatever. But a lot of this is changing lives and people who can't have children and just benefiting off of the technology that we have to do this. But then they want to turn it biblical, and say, here the good Christian nationals that like to twist the Bible the way they wanted to twist when Jesus didn't make it that way. God said life is when a breath is taken. You know what I'm saying? If you just want to get technical with the Bible, you know what I'm saying? But all of a sudden now they want to try to justify their wrongdoing and put God's word on it. Nah. Stop doing that, Christian nationals. You know what I'm saying? Like, right. That's not what it is. So, hearts out to the people, man, that are just, trying to really be out there. And of course, people are abortion, ain't enough kids out there. But people who can afford this process, they're going out and having children and building families. Yeah. Heart out to them, man, because this comes out of nowhere and that puts them in the crunch just because somebody wants to technically, politically make a name for themselves and overreach. Because that's basically what it is. It's a political game being played now. With with abortion. These are people just making a name for themselves. Right. Greg Abbott, you know what I'm saying? You don't care, about these people and families. You just want to appear to your base that you're doing something. A base that's misled by false prophets call themselves Christian nationals. You know what I'm saying? So
exactly. And just to let you know, embryos are 8 cells. and they're microscopic. I mean, I'm just saying, you know what I mean? When we're talking about something that's a microscopic 8 cell, I got to need a microscope to actually see it versus a baby or something, you know, our children outside running around in the park. So these are the conversations that we're having. So it's not like splitting hairs. It's pretty serious as far as what we're actually constituting as life.
Some of these people to challenge the science are the same people that do things to animals to make them better so they can make profits off of them. They're cattlemen and ranchers and stuff like that mess with embryos and stuff like that with animals. How you think we learned this? You know what I'm saying? They do that to enhance the animals.
The food
so they
supply
can go
and
out
everything else, right.
to make a profit. But then you want to sit around and have a problem. And these people are rule people 9 times out of 10 are with the Republican Party. You know what I'm saying? They vote for people who vote against this. When this is the way you make a livelihood, and you don't want nobody to start saying, "Hey, well, you know what, man? If you kill a cow's embryo, now you're committing murder." You know what I'm saying? Or you try to enhance it, or you do whatever you want to do to try to make it better, or you do anything towards a calf or whatever to do that. It doesn't have to be in vitro fertilization. It can just
Is that
be
criminal
anything.
offense, right?
Because according to them, you're manipulating life, which, you know, that's something God should be doing. You know, well, I got you on that. But you know what I'm saying? But you do it to make a profit.
Right.
You know
Every
what I'm
day.
saying?
Yeah. So how does this impact patients out there struggling with infertility?
Big
Oh,
time.
man.
Well, now 2 of the 8 fertility clinics, now they paused their treatment. The concern of civil and potential criminal legality for the people actually doing IVF and then actually the doctors doing it. And if people don't understand IVF, if you go ahead and research it, typically what they do is they use multiple embryos, right? And maybe only a couple take. You know, that's what happens with these families. Like, they tell them the more that you know, that we try, then that's typically why you get twins and quadruplets and triplets and things of that nature. So now it's like people are just stopping. Like, there's a pause on, they don't even know because they don't understand, like, is this criminality? Like, if I transfer an embryo and somehow it's damaged, now is that a criminal offense that I've committed? So as a doctor, these doctors are like, I don't want to engage in this because I'm not trying to go to court. I'm not trying to go to jail. Basically trying to help a couple having babies.
Yeah, lose
so
one
now
life.
it's been
Patient
paused.
instead of the doctors. Because the doctors are next question. I want to focus on the patients.
Oh,
right
on the
now.
patient. Well, definitely on the patients too. So it says there's over 1.5 million embryos currently frozen across the U.S. So are those people in trouble? Because now they got frozen embryos. So what do? They
What
just
they
keep
gonna
them
do with
frozen.
that? They just
Well, it's only Alabama right now. So.
Right, you're right. In Alabama, I'm just saying the state about this is a state, you know, a state problem right now. But I'm like, I don't know. As far as if I was a parent, I would be afraid. I don't want to go to jail trying to have a baby. Can you imagine? I'm trying to give life, but then I may lose my life trying to have one. I mean, criminal charges, and that is what it is. It's criminality now in Alabama.
Yeah, and they picked Alabama strategically. You know,
Well,
they
look at Alabama.
You know, when you look at the GOP, you know, they want to go where they think they can win this court, so they can set a precedent and they can move it everywhere else. Just like when they wanted to take Trump off the ballot, Democrats went to Colorado. You know, that was going to be the easiest place to kind of get it started. We set up a precedent, and now we try to move it across the nation, and eventually get the federal government to vote on it. So, yeah, I mean, right now it's Alabama. But you know, Texas and Florida ain't too far behind, and if they ain't too far behind, then it's Arizona.
All the southern states, right?
You know what I'm saying? And then there we go with that. So that's why you got to look at it the way you're looking at it right now. Is why, what are we doing, and who's doing it? You know what I'm saying? So
I think
the patient, like you said, in their situation. Once again, it's sad. You have a couple that's been planning on trying to have this family. They went through all the paperwork and all the legalese to try to get this done. All of a sudden, this is passed, and it turns their whole life upside down. So you can't do nothing but send your heart out to those people that really truly want to have a family and trying to get some things done.
Yeah, I agree. These patients out there, they've been planning. They want to have their own child. Like they may be infertile, but they want to use their own egg, their own sperm, whatever, or sperm from someone else that they know, whatever. And this is partly, at least, their child, right? They have options, right? So what can these patients do? They can go adopt. Maybe they don't want to adopt. Maybe they want to have their own, you know, genetically, you know, biological child. You know what I mean? And now this takes that away from them. So they have to determine if they still want to be parents, first and foremost. Like, do I still even want to be a parent now? or are they going to adopt? Are there other options out there for them? I don't know. It just, like you said, throws a monkey wrench in their plan, and just kind of, it's very sad for someone who's been trying, because sometimes you try for a long time before you are successful. I think you have friends.
I tried for a long time before I was successful.
Yeah, but you didn't have to use in vitro.
We have friends who've done in vitro, and I have people who have done it on a personal level, and it's actually a painful process too. People don't understand what the woman goes through. You give yourself shots.
What?
I mean, yes, you have to have. It's a long process, and it's very expensive. Like, people don't understand. Like, people really, in order to want a child, you are really wanting a baby. I'll tell you that. You really want this
pain
for
involved?
yourself. Pain is involved. There's shots involved, especially for the female.
Imagine the conversation when that kid grew up and is acting up. Like,
Right.
you know what I'm saying? For real. You know what I'm saying? I was taking shots and shit. You want to act like this? Okay, get your shit together.
Right.
You complain about your shit, and I had to take all kinds of shots to bring your ass into this world.
For real.
It is a lot, timing and everything. And it's interesting to me because abortion terminates pregnancy, but IVF, provides that for them. So it's just weird that we're even having a conversation about it. I'm like, this is crazy, but you're almost lumping them together, so making it very difficult for people. Right.
Yeah, well, I think they look at it like, and to the whole full scheme of things, I think they look at, well, you throwing away extra embryos, those can be babies. I mean, that's the only thing
I'm looking at it.
I'm thinking of it. I mean, that all
but
falls,
that's the process.
Yeah, but
that's
that all
point.
falls back to, I'm sorry, man. God dang it. That all falls back into, put it there, dummy. You know what I'm saying? That all falls into the fact that, like, is there a grand scheme of, let's not become a minority by the majority, Caucasian, white, whatever you want to call them? Because abortion, in vitro fertilization, those aren't minority problems. You know what I'm saying? We reproduce. Hispanics reproduce like son of a bitch. Not to say anything, but that's why their numbers are rising. Now all of a sudden, all these political cases and people that are fighting it are going it because they're looking at the numbers and the Caucasian race is dwindling. So we don't want abortion no more. Can't throw away no embryos. I mean, I'm pretty sure there's some out there, but I don't know too many people that I know that are my hue that did that. They usually have the opposite problem. They can't stop having fucking babies. You know what I'm saying? So where's the strategy of this and politically, and why is it just so important that it's the GOP, which is a predominantly white political party, is big on getting this done. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So that's what my question starts falling into. Why is it such a big deal, and why are you, like you said, abortion on one side, in vitro fertilization on another side? It's all like, hey, you know what? We need to have all the babies we can have so we can keep these numbers up. That's what it looks like to me.
Or suppressing women's rights. Because to me, it's all about, that is my decision, my body, my choice. Yeah. And really, who's actually going through it, like I said, whether it's IVF or terminating a pregnancy, it does fall on the female. But it seems like our voice is just suppressed, and we're just going to do what everybody tells us what to do with our bodies. So they keep talking about rights, and like I said, big government and don't be intrusive. But this has gotten way, extremely intrusive, if you ask me, in regards, especially with IVF. It's a very personal decision, a painful decision, and a financial situation that nobody has any business on besides the man and the woman who make a choice to do so.
And who does it affect? It affects suburban, professional, white.
Because you got to have money. It's $8,000 to $10,000. I mean, it's not like dropping a bucket.
Exactly.
Money. You're paying.
They really want to have a baby. Maybe made plans to do it at this particular time in their life. Right. That's who it's affecting. So
So besides the woman or the parents or whatever, they're being definitely impacted by this. But how is it impacting the providers, doctors, their businesses, things like that?
Right. Well, we were talking about the criminal, liability that the physicians that are going to have to take on and face. And if I was a doctor, I mean, you might want to think twice because you can lose your license. People don't understand, think about what you do to go to school to become a doctor. And now my license could be on the line if I participate or, try to assist a couple in having a baby. If I destroy an embryo and I'm trying to transfer it and something happens and oops, I damaged the embryo, what's going to happen to me? Yeah. So as far as the big liability, I'm sure their insurance is going up.
Can they just change the process and be like, look, we just going to make one embryo at a time. Sorry. You know what I'm saying? Can they do that? I don't know. I don't know.
They could do that, but you understand, like every time, like it's X amount of money every time with the procedure that happens. I don't think most people can afford that. So I get one embryo, one opportunity. I done paid $8,000. That's I don't know. I'm just saying that is something maybe people have to look at,
to
and
your
juggle.
point, Adrian, if they like these middle class people that got $8,000 to spend at a pop, well, I don't know what they do or don't have. You know what I'm saying? But if they do, I mean, I'm just saying everybody can't have a $10,000 diamond ring. All right, everybody can't afford it.
Right. You know, shop over here.
So if these people can afford it and do it one embryo at a time, it's an option. We just can't say, well, close our business. I'm like, okay, there's got to be some option. There's got to be something you can do. There's always an alternative. I don't know if it's the answer, or if it's the right or the wrong answer, or if you make it that expensive, like to your point, are people going to be like, man, that's too much? Or are there people who are going to say, you know what? It's worth it to me. I'm a millionaire and I want to have a baby, so I'm going to spend $8,000 for each embryo, one at a time, so that this doctor is not putting himself at risk because he has to throw away the 3 extra ones if we're successful.
And I didn't look at statistics as far as like who actually, but typically it's suburban. I mean, it has to be people with money or some amount of, monetary means in order to do these type of procedures. So
you
I don't
ain't
know
walking into Planned Parenthood doing this. You know?
Right. So I don't know that information, so I won't speak to it, but that might be something. I mean, doctors may have to look at that, or is it even beneficial for them? It might be something that I just no longer, not a service I'm no longer offering.
It might not even be worth it.
May not be worth it to them. Or again, that one embryo, what if I damage that one? Because you have to do a lot of transplantation. You know what I'm saying? So there's movement in the body.
Risk, you mean.
Right. So the risk might be up there, and they're like, I'm not
just one at a time.
Right.
Still.
I'm like, I don't want to take that risk on. Again, I don't want to go to court tomorrow because I damaged the embryo. Now you're trying to sue me or whatever the liability that I have to assume.
Yeah, I mean, it's another attack on science, man. When you want to say that, I mean, all what we're talking about is scientific. A lot of people did a lot of researching to make it happen. A lot of trials were done, just like on a lot of things we talk about. When we started talking about the attack on science, it's another attack on science. Not only the doctors, but what about the lab worker? It's just the guy that's in there that does some of the research and stuff. Now, is he liable to go to prison because he dropped the embryo? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Why does it have to be to the point where it's so severe, to the point where we're going to change it and we're going to criminalize it now, to the point where nobody wants to touch it with these doctors? Just like abortion. They had abortion years before Roe versus Wade was done, and it was underground. You think that's going to go away now?
Right.
There's still some people out there that are going to still try to make money off of abortions because people still going to want to get to do them. We just came up with a legal way to get it done to the point where people won't be in no back rooms getting stuck with coat hangers. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Vitro fertilization, the same thing. I guarantee you, some doctor in Mexico is going to do it. You know what I'm saying? And somebody's still going to try to get it done. You know what I'm saying? Just ain't going to be able to do it here. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, government-wise, we look at it from a political standpoint, while everything that's, and don't give me the, because this is the one thing that kind of pisses me off. Don't give me the biblical reason that's why you're doing things. That's bullshit. And I'll say that. God's not going to give us nothing he don't want us to do. You know what I'm saying? Plain and simple. So let's take that off the table. I don't want you, it's a biblical reason and all that. Now go somewhere with that. Because same people say that don't love everybody. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So, and that's what religion is about. They have
love.
and judgment. They judge everybody. So I don't want to hear that. But now on this is a true attack on science on all levels. Like that's why it's here for. They're here to make life better make it easier for you. They're supposed to be able to help people that can't have babies for a reason. God wouldn't allow us to have that if he didn't want that to happen. You know what I'm saying? You don't have the power to kill that. If he wanted to kill it, he'd kill it. Or she would kill it if you want to.
Right. And there's also genetic testing. Like, I forgot about that too. They do implementation genetic testing to make sure there's nothing going on with the baby. What happens to those? What if something has some genetic disorder and the baby's only going to survive, a month? And then you try to destroy that embryo. You know what I'm saying? It's not going to be futile for you, so you don't use it. Now you're going to jail for that. You know what I mean? So we're actually trying to cure some diseases and some genetic disorders. And IVF does play a part or a role in that.
Well, one thing you won't go to jail for is clicking that like button.
Clicking that.
Make sure that you like this video and also subscribe to Left Wing Kingz. Also, make sure that you share this content on all your social media platforms. So let me go ahead to the comments real quick and see what's going on in the world of YouTube. We got Let's see. We got Carla Sizer here. She says, yesterday was the last day of early voting and people still haven't voted yet. Super Tuesday is March 5th. Get out and vote. Don't say nothing.
No.
We got to keep it rolling. We already way late. We at 11:51. We way past time. So Peter J. Milne says this decision is just ridiculous. Yes, it is. Stephen McClintock on YouTube. What's up, Steve? He says, you're also going to run into a situation to where when people do IVF, immortal embryos and indices not going to be able to abort any of them if there are defects
genetic.
or more, or one of the child isn't viable, like Walanda said. Christina said IVF impacts the LGBTQ community as well. Dr. Sizer says, vote, vote, vote. People need to stop voting against their own interests. Yes, definitely. And Peter from YouTube says, usually the willingness to help one another, even in a professional setting, has dwindled immensely in the last 20 years.
Yeah.
It's a suing culture now. Yeah, that is too true. Now, with that being the case, I think we kind of touched on this, but I just want to give you an opportunity if you got anything extra to say. My question, if IVF helps people have babies and Republicans are against IVF, are they really pro-life?
No. It's just an oxymoron,
Aztec
like I said.
Cruz.
Right, Aztec Cruz. No, it's like splitting hairs here. So IVF, we're trying to have a baby, but now we got embryos and we, again, some genetic disorders going on. I can't destroy, or they're not viable. I can't get rid of them. It's just, I don't think they know what they want. I really don't.
Yeah.
To me, it's just about control. Can I control a woman? And I want to be able to tell them what to do when I want them to do it.
Yeah. And okay, let's have the baby has genetic issues, right? Had a baby, the baby grows up. But then let's shoot down the programs that's going to help this baby. Like, what the hell is going on right here? Yeah, we ain't going to fund them. You know what I'm saying? We defense funding. We got, we ain't going to help them out. You know what I'm saying? That's your issue, but go ahead and have them anyway. So our numbers can look good, so we won't be a minority. You know what I'm saying? So it's just, I think what they are is convenient. Whatever's convenient for them, that's what they are. You know what I'm saying? One minute I'm gonna talk pro-life, and the other time I'm gonna not talk pro-life, or I'm gonna try to make people do things against their will. I want big government. I don't want big government, but then I'm gonna do big government things. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna give you big government energy. You know what I'm saying? So
I don't know if it's just like an Alabama thing. But from the federal perspective, a lot of the people in the House, a lot of people in Congress, Republicans, are kind of distancing themselves from this Alabama Supreme Court decision and saying, well, hey, we want people to have babies if they want to have babies. Now, they're not really speaking on the fact that the issue is like the embryo dying. They're not talking about that because, to Adrian's earlier point, they say, hey, a life starts at conception or whatever the case may be, and this is a fertilized egg, so basically it's conceived, right? So they're not touching that part of it, but they're saying we want people to have babies. We don't want them not to have babies. So basically what you want is what I said earlier. They want the providers to keep doing it, but if you kill it, you're wrong. Yeah. So I don't think that they really are very supportive of pro-life at all. They haven't thought it through, to your point. Now, let me ask you this. I just brought up a point that, one versus the other. When is an embryo alive?
It is considered to be a form of life, but it doesn't define itself as personhood. So to me, there's just two different definitions. But it is considered to be life because it has the ability to grow. But personhood includes consciousness, self-awareness, rationality, and the capacity for moral, ethical reasoning. And obviously, you can't have that until you're outside the womb. So it is
can't
life.
Have that. Like a newborn baby. Well, no, none of those things you just said.
It has a.
It's true. I mean,
right? No,
unless
correct.
You boss baby.
But it says biological functioning, metabolism, growth, adaptation, response to stimuli.
Well, those things the baby has.
You're right.
But the other ones.
But the other ones, no. So but it is a form of life. We can't say it's not a form of life. It's just a matter of, is it viable? I think of viability, and that's how I think my context is. Is it viable? Can it live without? I'm sorry, an 8 cell or even 2 months, they're not viable. If a woman has a baby and has, at 2 months, that baby's not going to be viable. They're not viable until after 4 months.
So pretty much. Define viable to me?
Viable meaning it can live outside the room. It's going to still continue to grow. It's going to have its arms, legs, brain functionality. 2 months, it does not have that.
So
It doesn't even have a heartbeat. You can't even hear. No, sometimes it depends on the weeks and stuff. But I want to say viability is to me. Viability to me is 4 months on. 4 months on. That's why some people are like, if you have an abortion, you need to terminate between a certain period of time because after that, it is viable. Heartbeat, brain functioning. That's how I think. That's my opinion on the matter in regards to that. But at 2 months or something that's 8 weeks, again, equivalent to your 2 months, is not going to survive outside of you. So, with that being said.
So 4 months to you.
4 months on.
We talking eggs, right? Pretty much.
I'm talking about
saying,
like growing.
talking about eggs.
Okay,
yeah. Yes.
Let's flip it.
Yeah.
Let's say we put this in sperm banks. You know what I'm saying?
Right. You kill sperm. You throw sperms away. You killing them.
Oh yeah, it's a whole bunch of dudes killing sperms.
Yeah,
on
you
a
killing them,
daily
throwing them in the
basis.
trash. Right. You know what? I never thought about that. Like your sperms. That is true.
There's a couple of us going to jail.
You going to jail?
Last night.
He going to jail. I know that because we is tubes tied. Look,
so I mean, no, we flip
murderers
it.
over
here. We put this on sperm banks. You know what I'm saying? And, collect the sperm. It's cats killing sperm all day long, and that's part of the process also.
Well, I take it back. It's part of the process, but they're thinking the egg being fertilized, so the sperm would already be.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I mean, but how about
thing. But
the 10 million sperms that I have? One of them could have been a baby, right?
That is true.
Right?
You could have. Right. Wow, that's deep.
Yeah, that's deep, ain't it? You know what I'm saying? Like,
all those condoms.
Could it turn that way? You know what I'm saying?
Well, next you're going to come after suing contraceptives, right? Because condoms, what happens, it traps it and then
the sperm
woo,
get thrown
y'all in trouble.
It's cats and porn killing sperm for a living. You know what I'm saying?
Why'd I talk to you?
Oh my God. So Peter on YouTube says, so thinking about it for a moment, how will they view miscarriages?
Exactly.
That's what I remember. I talked to you about that. Is that the woman's fault, or the man's fault? You stress me out. Jobs, I'm suing because that's what happens a lot of times. These women go to work and then they get overstressed, and then here we go, my body. Is that indirect? Is that like almost like manslaughter? You know what I'm saying? Like I didn't mean to. Oops.
I was thinking about like a woman who's during the pregnancy they have complications and lose the baby.
Like whose fault is that though? Is that her fault or is it the
fault?
External stimuli fault?
Is a nurse in trouble now? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Is the anesthesiologist in trouble? You know what I'm saying?
Is your job in trouble? Shouldn't have been at work. Look, stressing me out.